All right, friends, today we are going to go through chapter 13. This is our final chapter together. We're talking about using technology to manage information is what we are going through today. It's going to be relatively quick. I think the majority of you guys are really acquainted with technology for the most part, right? So information technology, which is also known as IT, encompasses all the equipment. It's also part of business, right? It's a very essential part of business, especially in our modern day today. But it encompasses all the equipment, techniques, and processes used to manage and process information. Okay, so this would include anything that like hardware, like computers and servers, to software systems like databases, analytics tools, maybe even AI solutions, anything like that would fall under information technology as well. So because IT is such an integral part of business, it has shifted the way we collect data, and it has shifted to what we now call a data-driven decision-making process. Any ideas what a data-driven decision-making process is? Exactly, exactly. So before we used to kind of like, you've heard the phrase follow your gut, right? And so a lot of times business owners would have this gut feeling and they would take a risk, which is not necessarily a gut feeling. It's more like experience, or they kind of like know how to read it, but they don't really know. Now we have no reason to make those decisions because everything we have is data driven. There's so much data on consumers, data points that it's so overwhelming if you do not know what your key performance indicators are, which essentially means what are you looking for in this data set? Okay. And you have things like Google Analytics that would do that for you, that for free. This is how your phones know and collect so much information on you. And that information is then repurposed, whether legally or illegally, doesn't really matter. But that information is repurposed and it can turn into data, but also there's data points that businesses collect themselves, like where you left their website, for example. And if 100 people visited the website and 50 of them left in the same place, then we know that the decision that we have to take is to fix that particular pain point, right? So then we start making decisions based on data. If data set says that, oh, these are the kind of businesses or these are the kind of content that's making um, money or whatever the case is, then we start to recreate the same process based on the data that's available. And all of that is done through information technology and how it's collected and so forth. Yes. Yes. So, unlike the ones you buy at the store, those ones don't taste good and they leave lots of crumbs on your website, and that's how they connect the information. So, let's say I am going to a website, right? Let's say I'm going to, I think Canva would do this, right? Do you see where it says? So we use essential cookies to make Canva work. We'd like to use cookies to improve and personalize your visits, tailor ads you see from us on partner sites, right? So they collect information from you so that they can use it somewhere else to analyze our website performance, but only if you accept. Okay, so you can manage the cookies, and you'll see here what these cookies actually do. And this is a new thing for the US. The US did not have to actually provide you with this information until recently, like the consent. They would just do it, exactly. And so you can click the functionality cookies. The targeted cookies is essentially where it is. So who are these cookies from? this is who essentially is using it. So these cookies are set by our advertising partners to track your activities, to show your relevant Canva ads on other sites that you browse. Okay, Amazon, Apple searches, whatever, all of this. This is, well, yeah, yes, and it could also be collecting audio information as well in different apps. Um, so it's important to kind of make sure that you toggle off all the privacy, the do not sell, do not share situation. So that's essentially what it is. But that all falls into information technology, right? And so um, you could collect that kind of data, but data-driven decision making is also on the statistics of it. So, um, for example, there's this, I don't know if I'll have my number, but so there are data sets like the ones you'll find on this library card that will get you no online data set. Okay, maybe not. Oh, oh, there it is. Okay. Um, there are data sets that would allow you to browse through information based on the income that's available, based on the location, based on the CEO, based on all the stuff that you can actually extract this kind of information from these sites, and that could help you make decisions. Like, should I open a new business here? There's also geolocations where you are looking for um, at how many people are passing through the shopping center. What are their buying habits? Things like that. That would allow you to see, oh, well, actually, I should open a gym in this area. Does that make sense? So all this stuff is available through IT. No? Am I going crazy? Did they change the where it's at? Anyways, I was looking for I was looking for one called Data Axle, but it seems to have disappeared. Also, if you want to listen to music for free, kind of like your own Spotify, don't know how great it is, but this is a great, the library is wonderful, guys. The library is just wonderful. All right. I think everybody is familiar with the different equipment that's there. Like, y'all know what a tablet is, you know what a personal desktop is, right? I know you use laptops all the time, but this is a desktop, yes. And laptops, obviously, mini computers, there's the smaller ones. Servers is where, my goodness, information about managing businesses and all that stuff. Anything that lives on your website itself lives on a server. That server is then transmits the other information out there. Okay. So that's what a server is. It facilitates the network's communication. It hosts application, it hosts databases, it hosts other resources, and usually businesses use servers to ensure consistent access to shared resources and enhancing collaborations and data management. Now we have like cloud computing services where your data now lives online, right? And this allows you to access anything from almost anywhere, right, about your company. This allows for remote work as well, and so forth. Okay. So there are different types of commonly used softwares. Word processing software, things like Word documents, that's a word processing software. Grammarly is a word processing software. So these are text heavy. They allow you to edit grammar. They even allow for email merges, things like that, and so forth. And they make, document preparation a lot simpler. Spreadsheet softwares, this is like Excel, Google Sheets. Database management programs, they are a way to organize and store records like customer lists, inventory, and employee data. So you can find them electronically in essence, but also there are things like HubSpot, for example, that would do that for you, and it is called a CRM. So this, you can have a free version of this. This is great. Where is their free version? Not what you want. Okay, so this would keep a list of all of your data. It could keep a list of your communication with your customers. It could, there's just so much that softwares like these can, you can utilize them, that businesses can utilize, that would really make a difference in what you are doing as well. Okay, so these all go within what the IT would have to consider as they are building your business. Okay, so someone has to look into all this information and put it together and allow it to run seamlessly. Because if you don't have that, especially in today's world, it gets a lot harder. Okay. Yes. So yeah. So QuickBooks lives on, they're all computer software. There's very rarely now that they have any software that is downloadable. But yes, it would be a computer software. It's a subscription-based model. They used to have them where you can download them, but now they don't necessarily do that because it's not, yeah, it's not profitable. People would download the software and just kind of it lives there. There are alternatives, by the way, that are also free, like Wave app. Yeah. Okay, so the Chief Information Officer is at the forefront of managing an organization's informational resources, and this role carries significant responsibility as information is the lifeblood of today's business. So what the CIO does is that it ensures that the right technology is implemented, and that data is available, it's secure, and it's used effectively to meet business objectives. So you don't just want to collect data randomly. You want to collect it with a specific goal in mind. That goal is called a key performance indicator, okay? Because it indicates how well whatever you're measuring is performing. And what the chief information officer does is that they make sure also that all of this information is secure. You get these emails at times where there's a data breach. You're like, you need to change your password or whatever the case is, right? That's not something you want to do. If you're a medical office, you want to make sure that there are no HIPAA violations, right? You have data sets like 23andMe where there was a data breach and people's information was stolen. Okay. Yes, you could absolutely get sued for that. And so part of the role of the chief information officer is not just to pick and choose the software, but also keep the data secure and also make sure that things are, the data is available when it needs to be available. It is accessible it's comprehensible, and so forth.
What softwares do they usually use to like keep all of that like
Secure?
Yeah, secure.
I don't know. There's a lot of different ones that they use. It depends on.
Is it like those computer virus, or is it how like there's like the safe like computer virus, like people won't hack you? It's like a completely different software.
It's different because it's enterprise based. And I would say, if you're building a website on like WordPress or whatever, something like that, you can download the applications almost that layer your website with extra security. But it depends on the kind of data you're collecting. I've had websites that get hacked before, and they had some level of security as well. It was not fun because they would post like these random bride for sale or mail order bride, or I'm like, I literally at one point there were so many of these posts that I called the cops, and I was like, hey, I don't know if this is something concerning, not for the website itself, but I don't know if the people are trafficking women, and I kind of need you to. I'm gonna delete all of this. I'm gonna delete the site itself, but
Yeah, it was just weird.
yeah. And so you need to make sure that there's an extra layer of security right there. All right. Anyways. All right, so what is a computer network? Well, a computer network consists of two or more computer systems that connected by communication channels. The primary purpose is to facilitate data and information sharing, whether it involves documents, databases, softwares, or hardware resources like printers. And networks enable collaborations across teams. They automate the process, and there's an integration of system which ultimately leads to a more effective decision-making process. And there's a few types of networks that you should be on the lookout for, which is one is local area network. And this is designed to connect computers within a limited geographic area, such as buildings or campuses or things like that. And then you have a wide area network, which covers a broader geographic area. So it connects computers across cities, states, and even countries, and it relies on telecommunication media such as phone lines, satellites, and microwave transmissions. And you have something called the intranet. This is not the same as internet. Intranet. This is essentially a private version of the local area network, and it's designed to be used exclusively within an organization. And it operates behind a firewall, and it serves as a secure way to share information among employees. So that, again, the entire idea and the premise of this firewall is to make sure that it cannot be penetrated, so that hackers don't get in, so that your business secrets are not then stolen, so that your client's information is not at risk. Imagine if someone hacks all of the credit card information. They do. They do. But this is why, like, whenever you're paying, you want to make sure that the website itself is secure. And it'll tell you this is secure. Yeah. Yeah. But also, your stuff is so easy to hack, anyways. Like, you can get a Chrome extension and it will get all the emails, scrape all the emails that are available on a page. So. The next thing you have is a VPN, and that is it is a virtual private network and allows to create secure encrypted connections over less secure networks such as the internet. and essentially extends a private network across a public one. So essentially, let's say you want to access the Chafee library. And in that library, there are, and you're doing that from home, okay? You can log in to the VPN, and it would treat your computer in your home network as if you are on Chafee campus, okay? So essentially, it is very useful for remote work who need to access companies' resources from anywhere in the world. And it is very important that that remains secure. All right. Application service providers, they provide companies with access to software applications over networks, usually the internet, and through a subscription model. So instead of buying, installing, and maintaining softwares on individual machines, you essentially buy an entire subscription for the entire organization or for a certain amount of users on it. So like you have access to Microsoft 365 through Chafee. That is because they have bought a subscription to this application service provider. Okay. So things like that would be, or the Adobe subscription, you also have access to that through Chafee. So because Chafee bought all of that. And then you have managed service providers. And essentially, it is instead of having your own IT department, you offload it to someone else, and they manage the monitoring, security, and performance of your organization's IT.
Is that usually when big companies kind of hand it over to like overseas companies?
No, not necessarily. One of my clients for digital marketing was a managed service provider located in Ontario. They did what they like. They would monitor. They would build all the infrastructure as if you have an in-person IT company for you. They'd be available to help at any time, and they would monitor all the different clients that they have at the same time. Which made it a lot easier for clients like dentists or law firms to be able to do what they do without having to worry about IT or without having to stop their work and then having to start it again because the computer wouldn't load, right? And so now you wasted an entire day of not working, 3-4 hours of not working. I lost where I'm at. One second, sorry, that's 13.5. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, so Managed Information Systems, or MIS, is designed to meet organizations' information need. So that encompasses users, hardware, and software support, software that support decision-making process. And it's a really important part of your technological needs. Okay. So the foundation of the MIS is the transaction processing system, And this system is responsible for handling day-to-day transactions like processing sales, orders, payments, or employee records. And then the TPS collects data from both internal and external sources and then organizes that data into a database that can be used for further analytics. So for example, when you have a customer purchase at a retail store, the TPS records the transaction details like the date, the time, product purchased, and the payment method, and updates the inventory simultaneously, okay? And so the database created by the TPS is like a large-scale version of a typical microcomputer database, and the entire idea is to have it all right there. Right. So these are just different aspects of information technology and how they integrate into business. Okay. Sorry, we're skipping over figures today. All right. So management support systems are designed to provide high-level analysis that help managers make strategic decisions. And what essentially is happening is by leveraging the internal master database, the MSS can conduct complex data evaluations by identifying the trends that are available, by looking at the patterns, by looking at the anomalies that influence decision making. So the entire idea is to create and leverage data because data today is so incredibly important, you guys. All right. So there are the MSS typically encompasses a range of subsystems. These include decision support systems. They include executive information systems. They also include expert system. An expert system essentially mimics human decision-making process based on predefined rules and past data. This is kind of when in today's modern world, I guess, not that the other stuff was not modern, but you can train an AI to do certain things. This kind of works the same way. And then a data warehouse is a centralized hub where the organization's vast amount of data are stored and consolidated. This is not necessarily real-time transactions like the operational databases. It's more of a long-term analysis or analytics processing. So a decision support system is a computer-based system that helps managers and decision makers identify trends or look at data and interpret the data to make better decisions. That's the whole point, right? The whole point is to be able to find that information that is. Imagine being given data on everything that is about that person. And now imagine that plus times 3,000, right? Do you want to sift through all that data? No, right? So you need to know what you're looking for. So decision support systems, they kind of help with that as well, okay? And some of them have this what if scenarios or tools that helps you like modify certain or change certain numbers or ideas and kind of manipulate it to see if this was the best case scenario, what would happen? If this was the result, where would we be? Okay. How are we feeling so far? Everyone's good? Still alive? All right, great. All right, so executive information system is similar to the decision support system, but it's tailored specifically to top executives, and it helps these individuals, the top executives, make better decisions. So, for example, CEOs with this executive information system, they might be able to see financial performance comparisons with competitors. They might be able to see geographical representations of economies and industry trends. They have real-time key performance indicators, also known as KPIs, and so forth. And the benefit of this is this quick access. So executives often need to make rapid decisions, and having that assistive um, software helps make those decisions quicker and better, and not based on, again, that gut feeling that they have. Right. Mhm. All right, so there are two different things, information management versus knowledge management. Information management is concerned with collecting, processing, and distributing data. And the focus of it is to make data accessible. Whereas knowledge management systems, it goes a little bit further, and it involves not just handling information, but leveraging collected information within an organization. And the idea is to focus on researching, gathering, and organizing and sharing insights that can improve productivity as well. Okay. So, what's the importance of knowledge management? Well, it taps into collective experts of the organization. So, what does the organization know as a whole based on all the data that's being collected? So you're looking at fostering innovation through the data that's there. You're looking at improved decision making. So as employees have access to broader sets of insight and best practices, it allows them to make better decisions. Enhance productivity. So since employees can find solutions and best practices faster, it reduces redundancy and the learning curve. Okay. If someone tells you, for example, um, you are going to rent a car while you are on vacation, and you can buy uh, the insurance online, and it's cheaper than in person. Would you go buy it in person? But if you didn't, would you go buy it in person? If you didn't know, you'd be more inclined to go buy it in person and pay whatever extra money they have you pay then, right? And so when someone is showing you the ropes, it becomes a lot easier. So think of knowledge management as something like that, where you have the data, and so you don't have to make the mistakes if they've already been made and the data is presented there for you. Mhm, mhm. So, what are the top concerns regarding protection of data? Well, you guys can see one, uncertainty in securing connected devices and apps. Um, don't immediately change default password. That causes a security breach, because anyone that finds the the passcode, right? Sometimes it's just password with a capital P, and tries it, gains access to a whole massive amount of information, right? But how many times how many times have you done that, right? Like, it takes forever for you to change it or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I'll just keep whatever they gave me, until it forces you to change it. This is why schools sometimes force you to change your password somewhere like 3 months into it. You're like, I cannot keep creating new passwords. I can't remember all of these. And so these are some security concerns, how the company collects personal information, and so forth, right? So these are some of the concerns that are available. So what are some things that could be done to protect IT assets? One, develop a comprehensive plan. It is so important to have a plan in mind for the policies of usage, maintenance, and incidents responding and incidents reporting as well. Physical security of equipment is important. So beyond the digital measures, you also need physical to physically secure your equipment. So locks, surveillance, whatever kind of things, and so forth. Data encryption. And there's a lot of things like advanced encryption standards that help protect sensitive data and it helps prevent data breaches. Authorization systems for access control. So you have multi-factor authentications, or where you have to, like they'll send you something to your phone and you'll have to copy that code, or you have to click a button on the app, because sometimes, your messages could be accessed online, right? But certain apps have to be downloaded on your phone. Firewall installation. So firewall, both hardware and software, act as a barrier between a trusted internal network and untrusted external networks. This is, you asked me earlier about the antivirus stuff. The antivirus is something of a firewall, I would say. Let's see, what else do we got? Periodic IT audits are good. Port monitoring for unauthorized devices. This is what Google does. If you log in from somewhere different, right? If you log in from the school computer, Google will send you a message to your phone saying, hey, was that your login? Facebook does this all the time. Instagram, Meta, right? Frequent staff training sessions. People fall for phishing emails all the time, right? Phishing emails are fake emails that are sent to you in order to fish out your information or other informations, right? Useful information and question and answer databases are good, and so forth. Any questions? All right. All right, so cyber sleuthing, let's see. Let me see. No, this is no longer really a trend, so we're just gonna move past it. It's 5 years old. So how does the grid and the network work in terms of cloud computing as well? Grid computing involves dividing large tasks into smaller segments that can be processed in parallel equipment across multiple servers or a grid node. And they are controlled through a control server, which coordinates the distribution between all of them. There's also now, if you look at blockchain, blockchain, you've probably heard that as a currency, yes? But blockchain is way more than a currency. You can use blockchain to encrypt information as well, and to see how it processes from one node to the next, okay? And then cloud computing is probably what you're familiar with the most. And instead of breaking down a single task across multiple nodes, it provides a network of on-demand resources, including computing power, storage, and various services. This is very helpful in that you're able to access your Google Doc from anywhere on any device, right? You don't have to be on your device, whereas in the other sense, it has to be on one thing. Make sense? All right, my friends. that is it for this one today. Let me know if you guys have any questions.